Justice in here. Can you get to a more quiet area and then I'll send you another invite back in here? But you sound like you're in outer space, and I just can't hear you. Hey,
Hi,
Defender of Justice. How's it
hi.
going?
It's good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. So, my dear, I'm wondering, how do you feel about humans exploiting other animals?
Well, I don't like it, but there's not much I can do about it by myself, can I? Like,
We're only responsible for our own actions, right?
yeah,
Unfortunately, we should do more. So, do you think that we should respect other animals?
yeah.
And can you really respect someone while unconsensually consuming their flesh, their breast milk, or their ovulation?
Um, I don't know. I guess not. But I wonder, do you have any pets?
I don't have any pets. I'm not allowed to have animals in in the apartment I'm in. Even if I was, I feel like my cup is full taking care of myself right now, but in the future I would love to adopt all of the kitties and puppies and pets that need homes, you know.
No. Okay. But what do you think about keeping dogs as pets? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's kind of like slavery, isn't it?
Well, I think that purchasing animals is very wrong, you know, and I think that purchasing animals from breeders is very wrong. Breeding is horrible. You know, I don't know if you know about the dog breeding industry, but there's never a right way to breed and sell someone. It is like slavery. You're very right. It is like slavery. But, you know, there's all these dogs and cats that already exist that need to be adopted, that need homes. They already need a place to live. So I say adopt, don't shop. And I think adopting
Mm.
somebody is um, it's a very nice thing to do, to take somebody into your care because they need a place to live.
Yeah, but my parents they got a dog a few years ago, and it's too much hard work, isn't it? Like you have to
It's like
walk
having
it many times a day. Yeah, it's like having a kid. I think some women they get a dog with their boyfriend, don't they, just to prepare them for having kids or something, isn't it?
yeah, it is a lot of
Just-
responsibility, and it is like taking care of a kid.
Yeah.
So, Justice, veganism is the ethical decision to live without exploiting other animals. Like, veganism is just the ethical stance against animal exploitation. So, vegans don't eat meat. We don't eat, or at least not meat from animals. We eat vegan meat, right? But we don't eat animal flesh or their lactations or their ovulations, their eggs. We don't wear their skin, or just we don't use them, period. And it sounds like this is kind of in line with your beliefs. So I'm wondering, would there be anything that would be stopping you from going vegan?
I don't know, I've done it before, but I was mostly pescatarian. Like I still ate fish, but now I've
Veganism,
kind of,
remember,
huh?
it's not, veganism's not a diet, remember,
Oh
it's an
yeah.
ethical stance against
Yeah,
the
because
exploitation.
some vegans they won't even eat honey and stuff, will they? Some vegans.
Right. Well, yeah, honey, it's not ours. You know, it belongs to the bees. The bees make it for themselves, for their
But
own
what do
food.
you think about honey? Do you eat it?
No, I don't eat it because it's not mine. It belongs to the bees. The bees make it themselves. It's their own source of food. Um, you know, the honey industry is very cruel. They clip the bees' wings and they gas the bees to death, and they just take their food. But even if the honey industry wasn't like cruel, it's just not mine to take, and I just don't need to. So, you know, I just use like maple syrup or agave nectar or like date syrup or
Yeah.
anything to substitute.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I don't know, but bears eat the honey, don't they? Then some people would probably say like if bears can eat the honey, why can't we take the honey as well?
Yeah, well, you know, we're not bears, you know. We're people and we live in society and we have the choice to not exploit animals. So I think that we should. We also have moral agency. You know, bears don't have moral agency. like the ability to make decisions based on whether it's right or wrong. Like bears also don't ask for consent when they're about to have sex. I don't think that we should do that just because bears do it, right? You know, like lions, sometimes lions will kill and eat their own babies. I don't think that we should do that because lions do
Their
it.
own babies. Do they really eat their own babies? I thought it was just like other lions' babies or something.
They sometimes they will kill and eat their own babies. But you know, whether it's their own babies, whether it's somebody else's babies, we're humans. We shouldn't do that just because lions do it, right? We shouldn't get our morals from the wild, you
But then
know?
what do you think about abortion? Like, because abortion is like some people consider it like killing babies, isn't it?
Right. So, my opinion on abortion doesn't set the opinion for the vegan mindset. You know, there's vegans that are pro abortion, there's vegans that are anti abortion, there's vegans that don't have opinions on abortion. Because, you know, veganism, it's a separate issue from abortion. Veganism is just the ethical stance against exploiting other animals. Me personally, my personal opinions, which don't, like, you know, it's not the same for all vegans, of course, but my personal opinion is that once the fetus gains sentience, the ability to experience life, I don't think it's moral to have an abortion. But, you know, whether or not it's moral, I don't think that
Yeah,
that.
but when do you think that happens? The sentience, like, how do you know when it happens?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. I can't answer that for you. You could look
Okay.
more into it, but that's, you know, honestly like a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
they already tried to address that issue, don't they? Like they put a limit on like I don't know 12 weeks or something like that, isn't it? For abortion, isn't it?
Right. So, you know, it sounds like veganism is aligned with your ethical beliefs since you don't think we should exploit animals and you think we should respect them. So I'm wondering, like, would there be anything stopping you from going vegan?
Uh, oh yeah, I was about to answer that before, but like I said, I've tried it before, and like, but mostly was for my own health. Like, I don't agree with exploiting animals, but I care more about my own health though, and I was
Yeah.
doing it for health reasons because I had like been diagnosed with like Crohn's disease, which is like to do with your digestive system and stuff.
Yeah, I know vegans that have Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the plant-based diet does have plenty of health benefits. You know, like for example, people that are on a plant-based diet live longer on average. People on plant-based diets are at lower risk of chronic disease, like heart disease, which is the number one killer for humans. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. But you know, the reason for going vegan, it's not about health, you know? The reason for going vegan is because other animals don't deserve to be exploited by us,
Yeah,
right?
I heard some people said like if you wouldn't kill the animal yourself and like prepare it for eating, then you shouldn't be eating it really. Like, and most
Right,
people wouldn't be prepared to do it themselves in this society, would they?
right. It's true. And you know, the number one benefit of being vegan, well, of course, there's plenty of health benefits, there's environmental benefits. The number one benefit of going vegan is that you're no longer oppressing animals, you know, and animals are no longer being oppressed by you, and you're no longer accountable for animal exploitation and
Yeah.
oppression. Because
Yeah, but
until
like
you,
I don't know, like something that bothers me is like most of the animals that we eat, like they shouldn't really even exist. They've been bred for eating, haven't they? For like many, many generations.
it's
Yeah.
true. We've
So
select
if we wanted to like the whole world to go vegan, like shouldn't they like kill off these animals like one last time, like and eat them and then
well,
stop breeding them and stuff and just leave small like wild populations or something or like in some nature reserve or something and try and make them wild again or something.
yeah, we should definitely stop breeding these animals into existence. You know, you're absolutely right. We've turned these animals into meat, milk, and egg producing machines that are also sentient beings through selective breeding and genetic modification. Like, Chickens, for example, chickens are the most abused land animal on the planet. Um, there's two different types of chickens in the animal agriculture. There's the egg-laying chicken, which they have been selectively bred and genetically modified to lay eggs almost every single day. It's
Oh,
extremely hard on their bodies, because it's an
yeah.
ovulation cycle. Chickens in the wild that haven't been tampered with by humans, they're laying 8 to 15 eggs a year, just like a human's ovulation cycle, because it is an ovulation cycle. And then
Yeah.
the other type of chicken in the animal agriculture is the broiler chicken. And these chickens, by the time they're like 8 weeks old, they're so fat that they can't even stand up and support them because their legs won't support them because they're bred and modified to just make as much meat as possible because that's what's profitable to the industry. And it's really just horrific. All of the industries are really horrific and seriously like a horror story.
Yeah.
And
Did you say broiler chickens, they're called?
that's what they're called. That's what the meat
Oh.
chickens are called.
Is
Yeah.
that the ones I've seen some documentary like in a factory, like big warehouse or something, like they have loads of like white chickens which are like all walking all over each other and they don't get any sunlight and stuff and it must be really unhealthy to eat them, I think.
Yeah. And these could even be like free range chickens. There's no regulation. Like there's all these labels like cruelty free, free range or whatever, but really the only cruelty free way is to not exploit other animals and just live vegan. And so, that's why I'm here promoting veganism because I would want somebody to be standing up for me if I was in their position. And like if you were in their position, if you were the animal being exploited, how fast would you want this injustice to end?
I don't know, but like what about like halal meat or what if they like what if you kill them in a painless way and you give a blessing or something like don't they pray or something? I don't
Right.
know.
Right. I mean, but like, what if it was you? What if you were killed halal and somebody said a blessing? Would you just feel so
I don't
No.
know. I don't know what animals experience I don't know what animals experience
Well,
on a
he
farm. If they're on like a nice farm, like actual like grass fed and stuff and natural, and then like they're killed in a humane way. I don't know. It's like not as bad as like factory
but
farming, is
there's
it?
no there. What is a humane way to kill somebody that doesn't want to die?
I don't know. You don't know if they don't want to die, do you? Like many people want their life to
Well,
end, don't they? You don't want to live forever.
using them and forcing them into existence to slaughter them is wrong. And if you've ever seen slaughterhouse footage, you know that they don't want to die because they fight for their life. If you've seen halal slaughterhouse footage, you know that it's not painful, that it's not pain free. You know that it's
Oh,
not cruelty free. You know that if you've seen like halal slaughterhouse footage, you know that they thrash after they've had their throat slit. You
yeah.
know,
I saw a horse that was like stabbed in the throat. I saw some video a long time ago, and I didn't like it. Like it was thrashing, like you said, and it looks really bad. Yeah.
yeah, and if you can just think about it from their perspective, like if you were forced into existence just to be exploited and enslaved and eventually murdered, really, how quickly would you want this injustice to end?
Mm. Yeah, my sister, she's like I think she's vegetarian. I'm not sure if she's vegan, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I used to be vegetarian. I was vegetarian for 5 years before I went vegan because I didn't, I was really uneducated. That's why I was only vegetarian. I thought that I was helping animal cruelty by only being vegetarian because I thought, oh, cows make milk for us because they're cows. I didn't think about the fact that mothers make milk to feed their babies. We've been conditioned to think
Yeah.
cow,
Yeah.
milk, chicken, egg. mine. But really, no. Like, mothers make milk to feed their babies. Females have eggs because they have the female reproductive system. And, the cow's milk, it's not ours. It belongs to her, and it belongs to her baby. And the chicken's eggs, it's not ours. It belongs to her.
Yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, it's not meant for humans anyway, because and they say dairy and eggs and stuff could cause many diseases as well, I think. Like, and actually, when I have like dairy, like milk stuff, and then I get a lot of sunlight, the sun's really bright, and then I got a migraine from the dairy stuff, I think. And it's
Yeah.
like, and it's bad for my digestive system as well. Sometimes I got like bad bowel movements and stuff.
Yeah, people like to talk about um, lactose intolerant. I'm like, are you really lactose intolerant, or are you just not a baby cow? You're just not a cow. But, like, regardless of whether we can or cannot, like, obviously, humans have shown that we can survive eating animals and animal products. But just because we can, that doesn't mean that we should, because they're not ours. They don't belong to us. The animals aren't here to serve us. They're their own individuals with their own subjective experiences, and they deserve to live their own life.
Mm, yeah.
So, do you think that, like, the number of animals being exploited by you should be zero or more than zero?
Yeah, zero. It's not possible to be less than zero, is it? I don't.
Right. Yeah, because you're a defender of justice. Of
All right,
course you
maybe it could be less than zero if you stop other people exploiting the animals.
Yeah, there you go. So, defender of justice, will you be? Do you think that you would be vegan from now on, so that the number of animals being exploited by you can be as close to zero as possible?
Yeah, I might try, but like before I gave up just because there's so much meat in society and like it's just and it does taste quite good, you know.
Right. But like, if you were somebody being exploited and somebody had a gun to your head, would you want them to just try to not shoot you in the head, or to just not shoot you in the head and let you go and let you be free?
I don't know, but if you're not healthy, like, what do you think about euthanasia? Because like euthanasia, I think it should be legalized completely. Like, if you're too sick, like, they shouldn't keep you alive. Like, if you're like paralyzed from the neck down and stuff, like, you shouldn't be forced to stay alive and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's a completely different story than
Yeah,
forcing somebody into existence to exploit, enslave, and eventually murder them. Forcing somebody into existence with the sole intention of using their body and killing them, that's a totally different story.
yeah, you're right. Because we don't need to eat animals. Like, there's like a loss of nutrition and loss of whatever it's called, nutrient, like loss of resources. Like it's inefficient when they feed like plants to the animals, like cereals or whatever they feed them, and then
Yeah,
we should eat the plants directly. Then like we get more energy and it's more efficient for the whole planet.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like, we have millions of people starving to death on the planet, millions of people starving to death, yet we are overfeeding 92 billion land animals that we force into existence every year just to exploit, enslave, and murder. How does that make any sense? We should just be focusing on feeding the people and not focusing on forcing these animals into existence to exploit, enslave, and murder them. But, of course, people just care about money. It's all about making
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
And
I don't think it's just about like the the animals. Like it's also about the humans. Like they want to make us sick, I think, to sell us drugs and like make us go to hospital and stuff, like to make more money.
yeah,
Because eating meat makes you really sick.
yeah, definitely. And, like, But it is all about money, and so the only way to stop this injustice is to stop paying for it. Until you decide to go vegan, until you decide to stop paying for animal products, you are responsible for animals being exploited and oppressed. And I know that that's not in line with your beliefs because you're a defender of justice, So you
Yeah.
could decide to go vegan today and stop exploiting animals, and there would be plenty of people like me who would be here to support that decision.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will. I'll go vegan again, but I think I've been eating vegan today anyway. But
Amazing. So we're already off to a perfect start.
yeah, because I wrote in the comments earlier. I had like pita bread with like hummus and grated carrots and sliced cucumbers, and it tastes really good. Yeah.
That's that sounds really good. Yum. Great, Defender. Um, and yeah, now that you've decided to go vegan, you can say like, "Hey, I'm against exploitation. I'm against oppression," and you don't have to worry about being a hypocrite. It applies across species, and the animals are no longer being exploited by you, and we're just one step closer to a kinder world.
Yeah. Uh, are you gonna play us some music or something? Have you got time?
I do have time. I can play a song. I've got Amber is in the request box. Okay, Amber, I'll let you in next.
Okay.
Okay. How about I let you go and I play a song and then I let Amber in? How does that sound?
Okay. Did you say you're busy today? What are you doing today?
Well, I'll probably stream more later. But yeah, I've got a few things to do, but I'll be at home, probably stream again later.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
defend,
Nice talking to you.
it's been really nice talking to you. And just one more thing I wanted to touch on. You said that it would be awesome if the number could be less than zero. Um, the closest way to make that happen is to become an activist for animal rights.
Yeah.
You could start telling people like kind of like the same thing I'm telling you, and this is the same thing that somebody told me that I just didn't know, like spreading information and making people think about other animals because humans are animals too, and people like to point out the differences. Like, oh, they can't do taxes. Oh, they don't speak English.
Hmm.
Oh, they can't build a rocket ship. And it's like, okay, not every human can do taxes and speak English and build a rocket ship, but we're the same in all the ways that matter. Like our ability to feel joy and enjoy life or suffer and feel pain. So we all deserve we all deserve justice. We all deserve bodily autonomy and the rights to our body.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my dear. Well, is there
What
anything else you'd like to add
what does
before
it
I?
mean? All the mocking doesn't matter. If you're vegan for the animals, all the mocking doesn't matter. You mean you get mocked for being vegan or what?
Right. Yeah, I do, but I don't care, honestly. Like the animals not being exploited, enslaved, and murdered, it's so much bigger of an issue than me being mocked. Cause like whatever,
Yeah.
like people are gonna mock me no matter what I do. You know.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
It was so nice talking to you, and if you ever want to come back in here, you're welcome to join again anytime. Lovely talking with you. Okay, Amber, I'm gonna play a really quick song, and then I'll let you up, my dear. The other animals are not our resources, food, clothing, fashion, ingredients, or possessions. They're not property or pieces of meat, not commodities, and they're not your milk and egg producing machines. They're sentient beings. They deserve rights to their body as much as you and me, or your cat, or a dog, or anybody else. also subjective thoughts and feelings. So live and let them live and be free. The other animals are not entertainment, testing subjects, modes of transportation, or things. Sentient beings deserve rights to their bodies, so could you just live and let them live, set them free? Thank you for listening. Yeah, my songs mean a lot to me. My songs mean a lot to me. All right, Amber. Amber's turn. Hello, my dear.
Hello.
Hello. So, how do you feel about humans exploiting other animals?
I think it's terrible. I don't eat meat. I try to eat less egg because I've seen the videos of baby chickens being thrown into a meat grinder. Terrible.
Yeah,
But I think it's for most people it's just not very sustainable to go full vegan. Like I'm realistic. If I make dinner for myself, it's just beans or like stuff like that, chickpeas. But when I'm with family and we're gonna order something, I live in a small town. There's not a lot of choices, so I'll order a margarita pizza or something. It's not.
right.
It's you
No
don't have
cheese.
to be so hard on
Margarita
yourself.
pizza, no cheese.
Yeah, if it's no cheese, it's just sauce.
Yeah, well, but like, how would you feel if you were the cow being exploited for her breast milk, or the chicken being exploited for her eggs, or one of the baby boy chicks that was being thrown in the meat grinder, and somebody was like, "Well, I would go vegan, but when I go out to eat, I want to be able to eat this thing, so can't really go
Sometimes you
vegan."
have to shoot for the skies. Sometimes you have to be a bit realistic. Yeah, and I mean, animal suffering is a very big problem, but there's a lot of different problems, and there's also then how far do you want to go? Because there's a scientist that says consciousness is a fundamental element of existence. So that means the cabbage is also conscious. That means it has some awareness. You can go very scientific on it, and it's just yeah,
So, Amber, do you know what sentience is?
yes. When something is self-aware.
Yes. So there's no scientific evidence showing that plants are sentient. However, we do know that other animals like cows and pigs and chickens and cats and dogs and fish
And we
are.
don't we don't give animals enough credit. I think pigs are like as intelligent as a 4-year-old, and
They are.
uh,
Pigs are
my
as
ex
bad.
my ex had horses. They're really intelligent emotionally. They can really feel your vibe, and if you're angry at them, they're gonna be angry at you too.
Right. Yeah, they're intelligent beings, but despite being intelligent, there's a more important factor here. Their ability to suffer, their ability to feel joy and enjoy life. That's the sentience. Because, some people aren't even that intelligent, but I don't think that that means that we should exploit them or murder them to use their bodies.
I mean,
It's the sentience that gives them
this sounds
matter.
weird, but people with Down syndrome are like the most innocent, sweet people usually.
Right, yeah, and that's how I like, I think about animals as completely innocent, just like
Yes. Like
children, they're completely innocent and and
I
we just they're at our
I vote
mercy.
for the party for the animals. It's the animal liberation, whatever. That's the party we have in the Netherlands. And they oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. Go on. I'll think
You're
of it.
So yeah, I was gonna say, like I don't think that living in a small town and having limited options is honestly a good excuse to exploit other animals.
But
You
if
know,
I wouldn't have lived in a small town, I would have still every now and then have eaten something with dairy in it when I'm with my family. I'm not gonna ask them to cook me something separate. I'm just if it's meat, if there's meat in there, my mom is nice enough to make everything meatless for me, but I'm not gonna expect her to make everything vegan, and I'm too lazy to cook every day. It's
But how
eventually, if I would live on my own, I'd be a s- independent woman. I would want to maybe be vegan or at least eat as little as possible.
But as little as possible for you right now is zero. It's possible for you to not exploit any animals right now. Like I
Possible, but life is
my
already difficult enough. Who are you to say to someone who has had a rough day at work, has worked, nah, I don't work a lot, but other people do, that they can have that McDonald's burger? I mean, there's a vegan option, but like, I don't know. It's just,
Sure, but who are you to decide that your convenience is worth the individual's life? You're thinking about it from your humans.
you're doing harm with every action you're doing. McDonald's supports war in
Yeah, and you don't
Israel.
need to
Google supports
maximize.
war in Israel.
You don't.
Everything you do has consequences.
So, Amber, but you don't need to maximize harm and suffering, right? Just because you've had a hard day at work, I don't think that gives you the right to pay for somebody to be murdered. Like I went vegan when I was 15 and I was living at home with my parents and I learned how to cook for myself just because I came to the conclusion that I have no good justification to exploit other animals. And I wish I could control my
I agree
own.
with you. According to my morals, I should be vegan because I know if I just don't eat the meat, the farmers are gonna get more money, less. They're gonna sell the meat for less, and that's contributing to the system, you know. But
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one step at a time, you know.
Right,
And
but
I think a lot of vegans make it. And I don't want to put you in a box. I don't know you, but you know Freely the banana girl, right? She's like what she does is good, but she pretty much says you have to live by these really strict rules, or otherwise you're a bad and evil person. Then people are gonna be like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna be a bad and evil person."
So yeah, you don't have, I don't know, you don't have to like Freely, whoever Freely is, you don't have to like Freely. Veganism is just the ethical decision to live without exploiting other animals. We're not a hive mind. Like you don't have to, like I disagree with plenty of vegans about plenty of subjects. The only thing that we all agree on is that animals are not here to be used by us. Now, I'm wondering, like, if you were the victim in this situation, if you were the one being exploited and assigned a death day, how soon would you want this injustice to end?
I wouldn't want to be butchered in a halal way. That seems painful. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty okay with dying. I think it's inhumane. I think COVID came from how we treat animals. I think crazy cow disease.
Do you know what halal slaughter is? Have you ever seen a halal slaughter?
They cut the throats.
It's super gruesome. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen halal slaughter. It's super gruesome. There's no kind way to kill somebody that doesn't want to die. There's just no kind way to kill somebody that doesn't want to die. No humane way to kill somebody that doesn't want to die.
There is
And
a better way. My grandpa, he had two cows, and he had two pigs, and he had 10 chickens, and every year he would kill them, or every so years, and he would kill them. They were treated well. They had a big field, and I don't know. I think for me personally, I would be with my own morals. I would be morally okay eating that because I have a bond with them. I think if you're willing to eat meat, you should be willing to grab a chicken and the head. You know?
so if somebody has a bond with you, it's okay for them to grab your head and cut it off?
Yeah, I think if you can't do that, you're a pussy in my eyes. If you're
So
not
so
willing to
you'd be
kill for
okay.
what you eat, then you're just putting your head in the sand or whatever they
So,
call it.
so you would be okay like with your dad or somebody like just grabbing your head and cutting it off?
If it would be not very painful. I mean, life is difficult.
I think that you're being dishonest, Amber. I don't think that you're being honest. I think you know that killing animals is wrong.
I
And
know
I think
killing animals is wrong according to my morals, but everyone has different morals. Not everyone sees animal suffering as
but
equal to human suffering.
I'm here to talk to you about your morals. And you know, you don't even have to view animals and humans as equal. You like to live vegan, you just have to recognize that humans have no good moral justification to exploit, enslave, and murder other animals. You just have to recognize that, like, the cow's life is worth more than a cheeseburger.
Of course, I agree on you with that. I agree with that on you.
Right. But you know, Amber, until you decide to go vegan, you are responsible and accountable for animals being exploited and oppressed. And I know that's not in line with your beliefs, but you could align your actions with your beliefs today and decide to go vegan, and there would be plenty of people like myself who would be here to support you.
I would definitely want to go vegan someday, but I just have a lot more going on right now.
Right, but how would you feel if, you know, somebody was holding a gun to your head and they were like, "Oh, I would not shoot you, but I just have too much going on in my life right now." Right? You're not the
Yeah.
victim in this situation, Amber. And it's really, when you're thinking about it from the victim's perspective, vegan is easy. It's easy to go vegan. It's
I'm
hard
not
to
I'm
be.
not a victim, I'm just lazy.
Yeah, it's easy to be vegan. It's hard to be exploited and enslaved and murdered, right? It's hard to be assigned a death day. It's hard to be like assigned a purpose for making breast milk for a whole different species. It's hard to have your ovulation stolen from you.
Have
It's
you gone
hard.
to a lot of farms?
Sorry, what?
Have you gone to a lot of farms?
I've been to a few. Actually, I stayed on a farm not that long ago, and it was like a humane farm or whatever. But after being there, that's what made me start doing animal rights activism. I'm like, this is so not okay. Like, the animals are not here to serve us.
I
And
grew up on the farm country, and I know most farmers have a much more sober view of death because they see death everywhere. And a lot of farmers, not the big farmers with 10 billions of cows in a fucking cage that is gonna catch on fire, you know. But the smaller biological farmers you have here in the Netherlands, in the area I'm in, you have a lot of the biological farmers. Then they sell raw milk, and you can see the cows, you can pet them, and you know
that was
that's
like the farm
definitely
that I
it's
stayed on,
it's
Amber.
it's
That
better. It's not ideal, but it's better.
So, Amber, that was like the farm that I stayed on. I'm in Portugal, and that was really similar to the farm that I stayed on. But I just want to clarify, veganism is not a stance against death. Veganism is a stance against exploiting other animals. So, you know, vegans aren't trying to stop the circle of life. You know, we're trying to stop exploiting other animals and using them for human benefit because we believe that animals deserve rights to their body and rights to their own life and to just be left alone by us, to not be.
Would you eat meat if it were your survival?
I mean, it's hard for me to answer that question because I've never been in a survival situation like that. Maybe. But, you know, we're not in survival situations. You and I can both
Yeah,
be
yeah, of
vegan.
course. I'm not saying I am.
Yeah, and
No.
Poetic Justice in the chat, he just said, as a lazy vegan, here's my tip. Meal prep large batches of food. You only cook a few times a week. That's a great tip. You know
That's a
where
good
else
tip.
you can find great tips is like ChatGPT. You can be like, hey, can you give, this is where I live, this is my budget, can you give me some meal ideas? And ChatGPT will give you meal ideas. And then you can be like, okay, can you give me a shopping list for these recipes? And ChatGPT will give you a shopping list. But you know, we have like the world of information at our fingertips. It's easier now than ever to go vegan, but it's hard
It's
for the animal.
I eat a lot of yogurt and quark, but there's just not really a good unprocessed substitute for that. Because there's a lot of vegan food, but if you're gonna get, I also eat vegetarian for health reasons, of course. But yeah, if you have the processed chicken fingers, it's a little bit less shit than the chicken fingers, you know, but it's still not healthy. And if you wanna eat vegan for health reasons, it's gonna be either meal prep or you're gonna have to make complicated of nah, it's as hard as you make it for yourself. I know that, but
Right. But how would you feel if you were like the cow being seen as a milk making machine and, you know, being like
We're all
forced to
being
eat.
exploited by the system.
So, Amber, what if you were a cow, though, and you were being forced to be making breast milk constantly to be taken from you, and that's what you were assigned, your role that you were assigned, to be a milk making machine. And somebody was like, oh, I would stop paying for this cow to be molested, but it's just too inconvenient.
That's what
You
they're
know,
trying to do with women in America.
how would you feel if that was you, Amber? I don't know why you think it's funny.
Because I have very dark humor.
Well, I hope that you can see it from the victim's perspective. You know,
Of course, I have a lot of empathy with animals. I love animals. I'm very close with, like, I don't know.
but can you really love somebody and pay for them to be exploited for you? Can you really love someone and pay for them to have their breast milk taken from you for you? Can you really love
I'm
somebody?
not directly killing them, so that's
Okay,
morally
but do you know how
better.
supply and demand works, Amber? You talked earlier about supply and demand and how
Yeah,
about you know that what you pay for is creating a demand. So I know that you know how supply and demand works.
yeah,
I
of
know that
course.
you
I know I'm a huge hypocrite, but, like, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, the best part about being vegan is being able to say, I'm against exploitation, I'm against oppression, and you don't have to be a hypocrite when you say that. And then, of course, the best part about it for the animals is that they're no longer being exploited and oppressed by you.
Yeah, but I don't know. You should never really stop. Nah, what you're doing, I think, is good. Engaging in a conversation with people to try and change their minds. But, like, I don't know. There's just a lot of vegans that just yell at you and oh, you fucking you kill the animals. I don't know. I had one vegan in my class when I was 12 years old. And every time I had meat on my sandwich, he would be like, "Oh my god, ew, that's so gross," and I would just shove it in his face, cause, like, fuck you, you're not gonna tell me what I'm gonna put on my bread, you know?
Yeah, and you know, lots of people come in here and they threaten me and they tell me that they're going to assault me and kill me and whatever. That's not all meat eaters, just like how not all vegans are the same, you know, we're our own
Yeah.
individuals. But really, like, I want you to start thinking about things from the victim's perspective because you're thinking about yourself and how it's going to inconvenience you. And, you know, like, well, what am I going to do about this? Oh, this will be inconvenient when I go to this restaurant. But I want you to think about it from the victim's point of view, the one that's been forced into existence to be exploited, enslaved, and
Do you
eventually.
have Google on your phone?
I want you to think about it from the
No,
victim's
but do you have
perspective.
Google on your phone?
You're, I'm really tired of you interrupting me and just not listening.
No,
Honestly,
I want to make a counter argument. Do you have Google on your phone?
I don't, did you even listen to the last thing that I said? Are you even listening to anything that I'm saying? Because I'm
You're
not sure I want
talking
to hear.
about morals and you're talking about wanting to not harm animals and wanting to not cause hurt.
What was the last thing that I said, though, Amber? What was the last
I
thing
don't
that I
know.
said?
Something you said sparked something in my brains, and I had to say that. No, do you have Google on your phone?
Okay, so I'm going to say this again, and I want you to listen, and then you can respond to me. That's how conversations work, not interrupting and talking over people. Okay, so the thing that I said was I want you to start thinking about this from the victim's perspective, because you're thinking about it from the human supremacy mindset. And I'm here to be a voice for the animals that are being exploited by you and oppressed by you. So I want you to stop thinking about, oh, what am I gonna do when I go to this one restaurant? What am I gonna eat instead of yogurt? Oh, what about this for me? And think about the victims. Think about the animals that are being exploited and enslaved and murdered for you. Think about the chicks that are thrown into the meat grinder for you. Think about the cows that are being molested. Because unconsensual milking is molesting. Think
Do
about
you
the
think
cows that are being molested by
human
you.
lives and animal lives are equal, or you think human lives are a little bit above it?
So my personal value, which is not the blanket for all
No,
vegans, you
no, no.
know,
Just your own
but
personal morals.
me personally, I value sentience a lot, you know, so I think the degree of sentience is like the most important thing to me. So like a fly has like a trivial level of sentience versus like a cow has probably about the same level of sentience as us. So if I was in like a trolley problem and it was like a fly or a cow, I'm gonna save the cow. Um, but there's other factors that go into this, you
Do
know.
you think the meat industry is comparable to like the Second World War or something?
Um, I think that they're completely different situations. You know, the animal, what's
They're
happening?
not. It's both sentient life that's being destroyed.
Right. And, you know, in the Second World War, the reason was because, like, they wanted, like, just everybody to be the same. They wanted all humans to be the same. It was completely different motivations. The motivations for this is selfish. It's, oh, I want to eat this cheeseburger, so I'm going to pay for this cow to be exploited, enslaved, and murdered. So
It's
it is
always
a
the rich that
completely
wage
different
war, and that's
situation.
always selfish because the rich want to be richer. It's always selfish motivations. Humans,
Yeah,
sadly.
right. Yeah, so Amber, you know, you could align your actions with your beliefs today and go vegan and stop exploiting animals. But until you decide to go vegan, you are responsible and accountable for animals being oppressed and exploited for you. And you don't have to be anymore. You know, you could go vegan today and there'd be plenty
How
of
do you
people.
feel about secondhand leather?
Secondhand leather. I think that this is something that can be debated amongst the vegan community. I would never purchase leather, period, even if it's from a thrift store, because I don't see the animals as resources. I don't think that their skin is mine to use. But you know, if I see somebody at a thrift store purchasing leather, you know, I'm not going to try to stop them. Like I'm trying to stop people paying for animals to be exploited, enslaved, and murdered. You know, I'm trying to stop people paying for meats and cheese and milk and eggs and leather from the factory and fur from the factory.
Your money is your real vote.
It is. Your dollar is your most powerful vote. It's very true.
Yeah, yeah, I know that, but I still buy stuff at the Action, like kind of Walmart, whatever, cheap labor, exploitation. I don't want to do it, but I do it because I'm a human, and humans want comfort, and humans are lazy. I'm trying
Right.
though.
Right, but you know, if you want exploitation to end, if you want us to value other sentient life, the bare minimum that you could do is go vegan. You know, like just like I said before, think about it from the victim's perspective. Think about it from the cow's perspective that wants to live her own life and she doesn't want to be molested for milk anymore. Think about it from this
You see it
boy.
very black and white, and I get why you see it that way. It's pain, it's hurt. You want it to stop, but
Yes, because
in
you're
the
either
Netherlands.
oppressing animals or you're not.
In the Netherlands, they are right now experimenting with partially plant-based and partially animal products. So they have milk, which is 70% milk and 30% milk comparable, soy milk or whatever. So,
Right, but the cow is still
that's
a
a good in between. It's not a race. It's not, it's
no.
impossible for everyone to say we're gonna,
Amber, I'm not
our
trying to say it's
grandparents
a
have
race.
built this system, and it's not a good system, but it's there.
But Amber, I'm just talking to you. You know, you only have responsibility for your own actions. It's true. You can only control what you do. And, you know, the 30% cow milk, 70% soy milk, that's not a good compromise because the cow is still 100% exploited. The cow is still 100% molested. You know, like how would you feel if you were the one being exploited and molested and somebody's like, "Oh, well, I only buy milk with 30% cow." Like you just don't have to. Like, why would you do that when you could just buy
Like
100% soy milk?
this is the setting that's gonna make people say fuck you. I'm gonna do what I want.
Well,
If you're
Amber, you are 100% responsible for your own decisions and your own choices. I can't make you stop oppressing other animals. I can't make you stop exploiting other animals. That's completely up to you if you decide that you're going to do that or not. It's not my decision to make. I'm trying to influence you because you sound like a compassionate person that doesn't want to exploit, enslave, and murder animals. But until you decide to go vegan, you cannot honestly say I'm against oppression and exploitation. It makes you a hypocrite because you're literally paying for these animals to be exploited, enslaved, and murdered. And you don't have to anymore. You could go vegan today and align your actions with your beliefs. But There's somebody else waiting in the request box. I'm gonna get on to the next conversation. But you know, if you want to come back in here anytime, Amber, you're more than welcome to come back in here anytime. But I'm gonna get on to the next guest.
Hey Jade.
Welcome.
So
Um,
go
we've
ahead.
talked before, haven't we? You're already vegan, aren't you?
You're very, I don't know why you know that, but yes. So the thing is I wanted to talk to you about is what is your baseline? Like, so your what is your activism goal? Like, so as a vegan, right, you want to get as many people to be vegan as possible, right? So who has the power?
I don't know exactly what you're. I kind of thought I was letting opposition in. I'm not really here to
But
discuss
hey,
my
if you
activism.
can listen and learn, isn't that good for you too?
So yeah, you can message me if you have suggestions, but or you can be the activist you want to be. You know, you could do your own live stream and be the type of activist that you want to be. I'm going to keep on doing it my way. Honestly, like I've been doing this for a while and I know what works for me. So you could go do your own live stream and do what works for you. Not here to get talked at. Why do you believe that, Jones? Why do you believe that? If you've watched my streams before, you know that it works. Thank you, Amber. You know, Amber, you're welcome to come back in here anytime. You can come join the live again anytime you want. I just felt like the conversation was going in circles, and that's why I let you go. Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, my dear. Defender of Justice asks, do you think it's okay to kill insects in your house? Well, I think inside of your home, I think that you have a right to defend yourself. Inside and outside your home, I think you have a right to defend yourself. You know, thank you, Sarah. So, if you are, you know, if you're swatting a mosquito that lands on you, I think that that's justified. I think you have a right to defend yourself. Me personally, if I see a bug in my home, I'm gonna catch them and put them outside. Now, this probably isn't what I would have done when I first went vegan, you know, but I've just slowly, like, my mind has shifted. You know, when I first went vegan, maybe I would have killed the spider in my room or whatever. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, my dear. But, I just, I don't know. I've changed my perspective on it. I think that you do have a right to defend yourself in your home, and I'm not trying to convince people on how to defend themselves in their home. I do think it's a completely different situation than paying for somebody to be exploited, enslaved, and murdered. Because, like I said, veganism is a stance against animal exploitation. Swatting a mosquito that lands on you, that's not exploiting animals, it's defending yourself. Um, So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Animal rights are human rights. Right, because humans are animals. It's true. Don't kill ants. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, when I'm walking, I watch my step. I try to not kill animals when I'm going on a walk. But, you know, I probably step on plenty of insects by accident. But that doesn't make me not vegan, right? Because veganism is the decision to not exploit other animals. You saw many flying ants a couple of days ago. Never seen a flying ant. That's cool. Using animals for transportation is not vegan. Using animals is never vegan. Who has the power to affect change? We all do, Jones. We all do. Hey, it's Jumping Money. Welcome back, my dear. How's it going? Nice to see you in here. Hope you're doing well. We all have the power to create change. You know, my only regret about being an activist for animal liberation is that I didn't do it sooner. I've been an activist for a little over a year now, and I've honestly created a lot of change. Like, not to toot my horn or whatever, but I literally have created a lot of change. I've had lots of people tell me that they're gonna go adopt a plant-based diet because of me, or they're gonna go vegan because of me, or they're gonna start being an activist because of me. And I just do stuff on the internet. Like, seriously, guys, we are so powerful. We can create so much change. Our voices matter. All of our voices matter. And the reason why each of our individual voices matter is because we all have a different way of doing it, right? Like, my way of doing activism is different from your way of doing activism is different from her way, is different from his way, and we can all reach different people.